Let us start with the first chapter called as the basic concepts in the ecology and environment. What do you mean by environment and what is ecology? Are they one and the same? If they are one and the same, why there are two terms? Which is the subset of which one? Let us have a very clear understanding of the basics. What is environment? Environment is nothing but everything around. What is environment? Everything around a species. Say for example, if this is a species, maybe a human. What is the definition of environment? Simply, it is everything that is surrounding a species. Means what is there? Everything around the species. This includes both biotic elements as well as abiotic elements. What is there around the species? Which includes both biotic and abiotic. What do you mean by biotic? Nothing but all life forms. What are the different life you can find on the surface of the earth? Both plants and animals. What do you mean by abiotic? Abiotic is nothing but all non-life forms. What do you mean by non-life forms? The non-life entities like, number one, the gases that are surrounding the species, basically air that is present. Also, the other important non-life forms like water, without which there is no life. Also, you can find the very important one called as land, which in turns into soil, where different types of regions having different types of soils and they are influencing the species. Also, the sunlight. Not all the parts on the surface of the earth receive the same amount of sunlight. See, this entirely around a species, which is called as environment. This environment is a French word. It's a French word derived from the word called as environner. Environner. Derived from the French word environ. What is this environ? Is a French word which is derived from the word environ. This is what the environment is. Then what is ecology? Ecology is a systematic study. It's a scientific study. It's a systematic and the scientific study about the interactions and interdependencies between the abiotic and the biotic elements. It's a scientific study about the interactions between the abiotic and the biotic elements. What the ecology talks about? It is a scientific study which is nothing but which studies the interactions between the biotic and the abiotic elements. Now, what are these? This is the definition, but let me explain in a very simpler language. What is the environment? Everything around the species. Say for example, we are here. Everything around us is called as environment. But what is ecology? Suppose if there is a tree, if there is a animal, a big animal is there, a huge tree is there, how the tree is impacting the human, how the man is impacting the animal, or for that matter, how the animal is impacting the man, how the man is impacting the tree, also how the air is influencing this human, also how the water that is present in that region is impacting the people, also how the soil that is present here is affecting the man there. If there is an interaction between the abiotic elements and the biotic elements. This study between the relation between the biotic and the abiotic is called as ecology. Simply, ecology talks about the interaction, interrelations. But whatever is present around the creature is called as the environment. This is what the scientific definition of environment and the ecology. These are the textbook definitions that are being given in the material or for that matter any textbook. But let me give another way of understanding the ecology and environment. Simpler understanding of ecology and environment. In fact, this practical approach to the subject is very important. As a civil service aspirant, you should be having this type of approach. Then only you can understand the real essence of the subject. Now, what is ecology? Ecology talks about all the rules and regulations of the nature. What ecology talks about? It talks about all the set of rules, regulations that are there in the nature. Then what the environment talks about? Environment talks about the application of these rules. The application of these rules. This is what simply ecology and environment. Ecology frames the rules and regulations that needs to be followed whenever you are there on the surface of the earth in the nature. What is environment? Environmental studies is nothing but the application of these rules. What that means? What is the meaning of this one? Let me give the example so that you will understand it very clearly. Now, let me give the example of the bird called as Amur falcon. What is a falcon? Falcon is a large bird. Basically, it's a raptor species, where the bird raptor, the name of this bird is called as Amur falcon. Where it used to live, it is living in its place of living called as habitat. Means what? What is habitat? Habitat is a place of living. What is habitat? Habitat is a place of living. What is the hometown of falcon? The Amur region. Where this Amur region? It is along the boundary of Russia and China. In fact, Amur is a name of a river. This is called as Amur river, which flows as a common boundary between China and Russia. In this locality, you can find the native species called as falcon. The name of that falcon is called as Amur falcon. Okay, this is about the Amur falcon. What do you mean by habitat? Habitat is nothing but the place of living is called as habitat. Now, this falcon during certain time period, whenever we are talking about the two extremes of a season, say for example, it is the summer, this is the winter. Whenever you are talking about the two seasons which are called as the extremes of any area, summers are too warm, winters are too cold. Any species can adapt to either summer or winter, but not both. Those species which can't adapt to both the seasons, they have to perform certain techniques called as adaptation techniques. Either it may be the morphological adaptation or the behavioral adaptation, and different types of adaptations. We will be seeing what are the different types of adaptations. The bird has to, or for that matter, the species has to adapt to the climatic conditions in order to survive. If it can't adapt, it can't survive. This bird also has to survive in this locality by adapting to both seasons. But most of the species can adapt to any one season. Either it may be winter or it may be summer. The best example again, Siberian cranes. The Siberian cranes, the cranes that are present in the Siberian region are very well accustomed to the summer season, where the mild climatic conditions will be there in the Siberian region, but in the severe winter they can't stay there, they will be migrating. On the same process, this Amur falcon also is migrating from this Amur region all the way towards India. The bird is coming to a state called as Nagaland. In the Nagaland, there is a lake called as Doyang Lake. Doyang Lake. The bird is migrating to this Doyang Lake. When the bird is migrating to Doyang Lake, means what? This bird is having two habitats. One the primary habitat, another one this Doyang Lake region, which is the secondary habitat. When the bird is migrating to the secondary habitat, now these people, Naga people, are completely unaware of the bird. These people feel like this is the alien bird which is coming from different part of the world, and it is consuming all the food of the local species. Therefore, these people started poaching, nothing but killing the animal. The moment when they kill the animal, almost of some hundreds and thousands of the birds are being killed very brutally here in the Nagaland, which is a very great cause of concern. Therefore, then the environmentalist entered into the scenario and asked these people to protect these migratory species. Such a forum where the meeting will be conducted in order to bring the awareness, such a platform where the meeting happens is called as convention. Since it is a meeting on what type of species is called as the migratory species, is called as migratory species. This convention popularly called as CMS, which took place recently in the year February 2020 at Gandhinagar of Gujarat. This is where most of the people might be knowing the convention. The Convention on Migratory Species is a world convention that happened in India, and this is a very current related topic, and most of the students might have by hearted this one. What type of species are being discussed here, where the meeting took place, all these things you might be knowing, and even when it has taken place you might be knowing, but what the student is unaware is the rule. Had the bird is not migrated, there is no question of convention. This is called as environment. Therefore, all the convention, whether it may be climatic convention, whether it may be the convention on biodiversity, all the application parts will come under the environment. This is what the difference between the environment and the ecology. Ecology talks about the rules, environment talks about the application of those rules. This is what the current related aspect, which is called as CMS, Convention on Migratory Species, held at Gandhinagar. The name of that summit and the number of this conference is COP13, and this is popularly called as, CMS is popularly called as the Bonn Convention, and the logo is GB, Great Indian Bustard of India. This is what the Great Indian Bustard, where all the world environmentalists discussed about this species, which is a very important native species of Rajasthan region of India. In the semi-arid and the arid regions of India, the gibi bird is. This is what the current related aspect. All the entire current related is having connection with the core. This forms the core. This is what the difference between ecology and environment. Having discussed the difference between ecology and environment, let us give some of the factual information regarding the ecology. The term ecology was first propounded by a German biologist, by name Mr. Ernst Haeckel in the year 1869. According to him, as he was a German, according to him, He used the word called as okios and logos for ecology. What do you mean by okios? Okios is nothing but the house of living. It's a house of living. And logos is nothing but study. Means what? According to Ernst Haeckel, what ecology means is the study of house of living. This is what the literal meaning of ecology.